Good day, this is Jurgen van Sail, known as Wegkaner. And yes, today, as you can see from the change in background, I'm actually outside of South Africa. I'm coming to you from Dubai. I am visiting the United Arab Emirates, and I'll probably be here for 2 to 3 months. Yes, there's that big number of South Africans that it justifies me to spend 3 months in Dubai and Abu Dhabi helping the South Africans. But now let's look at what you can expect in the third and final of our Conundrum series. I'm going to look at the diasporic South African family, obviously, but we'll look at pre-immigration planning. We touched on it before, but we'll explode it a little bit more. The big question is, should I cease to be a tax resident using the tax immigration clearance or the manual process? We'll look at the donations tax impact on the expat versus the tax non-resident or someone who ceased to be tax resident. The impact of Section 7C and Section 31 now that you have tax immigrated. And then a question that is not so much tax related, but how do I deal with children born outside of South Africa versus my children born in South Africa? We'll address the question where many of these expat families that indeed cease to be tax resident will be returning to South Africa, be it for COVID, be it for family purposes, or will they come back one day to South Africa to permanently retire here? Although it was not initially advertised, we will obviously also then look at the new rule or the proposed rule to raise an exit tax on retirement funds held by tax immigrants or people that are no longer tax resident. Just remember, the medium-term budget speech has been moved from October to the 4th of November to deal with the upcoming elections. We'll look at estate planning issues wider than the Income Tax Act. We'll look at a single will versus a will per jurisdiction. Sitting here in the UAE, Sharia law and forced heirship is a big issue, and we'll address that topic. We'll look at the Master of the High Court's rules and processes dealing with South Africans living abroad. I know you're probably going to ask what Master's Office, because I believe it's nearly collapsed. Then the big question is, must we update Home Affairs on the death of a South African ID holder that died outside of South Africa? And then that topic that I promised to look at again, and that is loop rules and exchange control. How are we going to deal with exchange control and the new loop rules? I'll repeat, how are we going to deal with exchange control and the new loop rules? We are going to see how we can use those loop rules to do estate planning, which is not necessarily tax-driven, but more exchange control-driven. And then finally, now that we are dealing with new exchange control rules and we can send up to 10 million rand out to an expat who has tax immigrated and is inactive on the SARS tax system, how should we deal with exchange control as it now stands? Do we need to change the way we draft our wills? Do we need to change the old and current trust deeds to make provision for South African trusts to indirectly hold foreign assets? Because many of the trust deeds today totally disallows that. And then in the will, if the executor has to send the money to my children living abroad, is that not a new task that I should give to him because the Estate Administration Act does not give him that task? Maybe I should add that to the will. If you have any other questions or other suggestions, welcome to send me an email to tax@wegkaner.com. Tax@wegkaner.com, spelled WEGKANER.com. It means away African. And in closing, I hope to not only see you at this third and final edition of the Conundrum, but also we're planning 2 more editions to deal with specifically the diasporic modern South African family in the digital era. We're going to look at how to draft wills, how to deal with digital assets, PayPals, pay wallets, and all those interesting things like kitties and cryptocurrency mining that may still take place in South Africa. Thank you for the support and looking to catch you on the 3rd edition. And if you have the questions, do email. Thank you.